mining site. International Bamboo and Rattan Organization joins the move, and Labor Day celebration is a paper talks of the National Bilingualism Commission for Multiculturalism, the National Commission for Bilingualism and Multiculturalism. Secretary General urges staff to uphold discipline, improve performance, according to the EA section of the municipal updates for today. From Minister Update, we move on to the Saturday newspaper that reports on ever since arrival without contract. The paper talks of Mark Breeze, who wants to sponge or get to read more on the Saturday newspaper of Le Populi. From Le Populi, we move on to the economic news of the FIAC 12. The FIAC 12 for this morning reports on the banking sector. It says Access Bank Cameroon now comes out with some 226 increase of deposits. Get to read more on that said paper for today. Away from May Day celebrations this time around with the different organization, companies, and the challenges that are facing the said workers who celebrated May Day of yesterday in the nation and around the world. Quotidian emergence for this morning comes back to the Martinez Zogo affair. It says the court processes impasse. Get to read details on that said paper. The paper too gives her tribute to the late former Secretary General, and read more on page 4 on that publication of Quotidian Emergence. Emergence celebrates Cameroon-Tunisia bilateral relationship. The paper reports on this intensification of cooperation during Tumbo-land conflict flares up. Tundonga Mantung administration accused of siding with aggressors. You can find details on that land palaver over there from Donga Mantung division. National Islamic Trade Finance, known as ITFC, viewer of the for today. From that paper, we make a stopover with Mitasiong for today. It talks of digitalized, according to Mitasiong of Terry Tiaga. In Mitasiong still, elections Cameroon intensifies voters registration in the diaspora. Anglophone crisis, one person killed in Kumba as a result of separatist attack last Monday. Moving on to Cameroon Tribune for this morning, it talks of International Labor Day celebrations, priority given to Project Social Construct. You can find more the affair. MTN Elite One Championship determinant at last playing day. You can find details on that paper. For today, first Korean African Summit, President Paul Biya invited. Echo News for this morning reports on United Bank for Africa. UBA offers floodgates of loans to some SMEs and organizations in the country, according to Echo News for this day. From Echo News, we move on to the next story or the next publication for today. That is who comes out with this set increase of beer products have been announced by the Castel Group on products. We move on to press governance for this morning. Press governance for today reports of the prize of excellent managerial skill for 2023. Martin Paul B. Jos Nomere has been recognized, and after defending his PhD thesis, Lieutenant Colonel Onambele Mendonga obtains a honorable PhD with excellence. And Khmer Press for this morning talks of the increase of price of beer. You can find more on Khmer Press for today. And in foreign investment, the paper reports on why the route of foreign investment. We move on to the next paper. Lushapo of Karotamba talks of the freedom of the press. Rene Manuel Sadi to some media professionals for them to stay relevant and responsible following his visits of media organization yesterday or 2 days ago at the national political capital city of Yaoundé. Ties between Cameroon and Belgium reinforces partnership of investment, according to Carol's Tamba paper on page 5. From that publication, we take you now to something else with the Guardian Post. The Guardian Post for this morning at visits to head office in journalism. Get to read more on that said publication. In that said paper, editorial Labor Day sidelining safety of workers. You can find more on that said publication for today. We move on to the Herald Tribune of the Lanjong for this morning. It says at official visits to Yaoundé, man confront drums peace development back home. You can find more on the visit of the traditional ruler of the Mankon people to Yaoundé. Bamenda, suspected drug addicts accuse police of abating business. You can find more on that said paper. SDF National Chairman, that is Honorable Joshua Osinamange, champions for massive voters registration and calls for peace in the Northwest region. 10-year-old Cameroonian footballer joins Premier League club Fulham. The Parliamentary Affairs newspaper of Quotidien Echo du Parlement for today talks of gratitude. Honorable Joshua Osi's recent action to the Northwest region confirms destiny pick him for SDF top job. We move on to the Nigerian tabloid for this morning. We start off with the Vanguard. Vanguard for this morning in half as lead story. Mayday, Labour gives federal government May 31 deadline on minimum wage. In that publication, banks closed 2 million accounts over PVN, NIN, others. In asset paper, insecurity, Matowale urges US to share intel on terrorism banditry in Nigeria. Daily Trust for this morning says Labour to federal government workers on Workers' Day pay us 615,000 naira as minimum wage or face showdown. Fuel scarcity, go after saboteurs. Go after saboteur, reps tells security agency. And we move on to Daily Sun. Daily Sun for this day talks of workers angry over federal government's delay on minimum wage package. Fuel scarcity, reps demand clampdown on hoarders. In asset paper, 16 burned to death, 2 injured in Enugu road mishap. PDP begins nationwide reconciliation campaign as fragmentations are quite visible in the major opposition party of Nigeria, that is the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Abia North Okoji Kalu intensifies schools or construction in Abiaraba Kobo community. Daily Sporting Sun for this morning talks of Finindi to open Eagles camp with home-based stars in Nigeria after he was appointed head coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria some days ago. We move on to Barcelona places 100 million euro asking for Prince Rafael. Get right on that story for today. Liverpool cancel flop cup parade and Rashford rejects move away from Old Trafford. Playing at Old Trafford was a thing of joy, according to Uzu. We move on to Liverpool interested in 102 million US dollars for Katarashla. Get to read more on that said paper. Daily Times for this morning, Tinubu to workers, your days of roaring are over. In that said paper, Mayday, bold leadership required to steer Nigerian towards recovery plan, according to the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC. We move on to how to check bullying in schools, according to educationists. And this other story on the top page story of that said paper, despite delay, new national minimum wage to take effect as from April 1, 2024, Labour ministers. And Nigerian Tribune for this day says Labour to federal government announced new minimum wage before May 31 or risks industrial disharmony. And PDP condemns tariff petrol price increases. And Central Bank of Nigeria CBN adjusted exchange rates to 28 times in the first quarter of 2024. We move on to Nigerian News Direct for this morning. It says, Mayday celebrations, your day of roaring are over. Tinubu assures Nigerian workers. In a set paper, 250,000 naira per annum, as according to LACT, uncovers 86 illegal room for container use for criminals activity under And still, we move on to this other story that talks of criminal activity under the Ikohi Bridge. Get to read more on that said paper. For today, leadership for this morning reports on the mining areas recovered rice out of school children. The paper talks of may the hardship amidst challenges, may workers fresh demands for workers' welfare in Nigeria. The Guardian for today, labor demands inflation proof, payment frequent wage review, according to page 6 on that said publication. Super Eagles, how to support indigenous coach to grow and win more wins. And PDP shoots Ayatiwa for budgeting 5 billion naira to renovate daycare centers. We move on to workers' worry as federal government assures on May 1 date for minimum wage package increase, according to Tinubu. New Telegraph for today, Labour gives federal government May deadline, sees 35% salary increase, not minimum wage. Get to read more on page 3, 2, 4 and 28 on New Telegraph for today. Bado George Okalo orders begin reconciliation in PDP PDP party. Blueprint for today, federal government to Nigerian workers, your minimum wage package takes effect as from May 1 2024. In that said paper, Denmark backs Ondox launches 2.4 billion naira Bayelsa security initiative. The Punch for this morning talks of minimum wage package, federal government labor talks deadlock, NLC defend 615,000 demand. And that's at paper, false scarcity, federal government plans 15-day of emergency fuel supply. Government expenditure rose by 33% in February, according to MPD, who talks on that paper. For today, federal government gives fresh condition for gas license. And Daily Independent for this morning talks of your days of worrying are over. Tinubu assures Nigerian workers. NLC TUC gives federal government 1 week to reverse electricity tariff hike. The Nation for this morning reports on federal government promises living wage as NLC demands 615,000 naira as minimum wage for workers and payment of the 2.75 billion naira to property owners of the Lagos Calabar roads that begins. You can find details of indemnity on that publication of The Nation for today. From The Nation, we take you to the last paper for today. The last publication for this morning is the Parliamentary Affairs newspaper, quotidian Koju Parliament for today. Koju Parliament report on gratitude. Honorable Joshua Osei's recent action to the Northwest region confirms why Destiny picked him for the SDF top job. You can find